just to make a little bit introduction in Italian, but just for say hello to anybody, then we prosecute in English. Buonasera a tutti, benvenuti a questa nuova puntata dello Strangebol. Dopo tanto tempo siamo tornati e adesso passo in inglese perché voglio dare il benvenuto al nostro ospite. So, we are here on Strangebol, this strange creature that speaks about the TTRPG's world and not only, but mainly. And we are here with a great game designer, Mr. Alex Kobayashi. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Hello to everyone.
Thank you for accept our invitation, because you know you are the man of the moment right now, because everybody speaks about Black Sword Arc. Everybody. And especially here in Italian, that the public of the TTRPGs are very exigent. They are very astonishing and have a hype about this game that is very incredible. I played, I enjoyed it, and I will play again and again and again and again. Okay, let's go. And we start immediately with the real good question that we have with all our guests. And it's a very simple one. Dear Alex, welcome, and please tell us, who is Alex Kobayashi?
Oh, so as you can see, I'm a bold guy, and I mainly design, I write TTRPGs. You know, I've been doing that since I'd say 2008, but it became, slowly because I had other jobs at the time, just to put food on the table, because you don't get rich, writing RPGs. But then again, since the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, I'm doing that full time now. Mm-hmm. So I'm French, as you can hear from my awful accent.
No, it's wonderful. Come on.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't speak Italian, which is a bummer, because it's. I loved your introduction, because I don't understand everything, but it sounds so nice. It sounds so nice.
My pleasure. My pleasure. But it's time that you learn Italian, because Italian people love your TTRPGs. So I think that it's time that you learn this language, because we will appreciate very much to discuss you directly. Maybe next time with some news introduction. I will try to learn some words in French, but my accent is, I think, that will be very, very terrible. Anyway. Let's start again. We are very curious. I had a discussion with my friends about your games, about your process of creation, because your games include a vast knowledge about the history of TTRPGs since very, very old times, but you just ride the wave of innovation, even in OSR, even in anything you need. But your games are a frontier of innovation, and this is what we like it very much, because here, we speak about variation, underdogs, something that is not common, not only D&D. So we are very interested of your process of a TTRPG creation. Tell us something more. Feel free to speak, because here is there's your public, and you can speak freely.
So first thing I would say is, as a famous phrase, a famous quote, I think it was Picasso. I think it was, when you want to make good art, good art, you have to steal from others. So I read and I play a lot of RPGs. Mm-hmm. And whenever I find a good idea, I steal it.
Yeah.
And then I put it in my games, and people tell me that I innovate, but mostly, I try to find inspiration in others. Mm-hmm. But to make my process clear, first of all, when I want to write a game, the first thing I do is I want to write a game that I think doesn't exist. And I want to play it, and I look at other games, and I say to myself, oh, there's not the game that does quite what I want. And to take, an example like the Black Sword Act, I know, I think in Italy too, the old Stormbringer game was quite popular, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted something like Stormbringer, but I couldn't bring myself to use, the same system. And when I was young, of course, I've read a lot of Moorcock, Elric, and other stuff. But since then, I've discovered other authors, Karl Edward Wagner, Jessica Salmonson, a lot of great. And I wanted something that would allow me to, play in not just Elric, but do all that kind of dark fantasy style game, which would be easy for me and my players to do. Because another point is, I usually, when I design games, I try to design games that I want to play, of course, with just not innovation for the sake of it, but just because I want to have a fun experience with my players at the table. And the good thing now is I discovered that some people share my we share the same how to say, we want to get the same things out of our games, something simple, but something with a lot of flavor. When you design a character for Black Sodak, as you know, it's very short, but immediately you get to know what you're playing, and you know who your character is. And I try to be light on the mechanics, the game mechanics. What dice do you
I
roll?
saw.
Yeah, but I want the game to be rich in other things. So let's talk about character creation in the Black Sword Act. It's simple, but you get a rather, I'd say, a good starting point for your character. It's not just a random string of numbers. Already you have quite a flavorful character. I hope so, at least. And you don't have to have very complex mechanics to do that. And always my goal, I'd say, is how to get as much flavor, as much atmosphere as possible, and using the minimum of mechanics, of game mechanics that you need. A great designer I like very much is Chris McDowell, who did games like Electric Bastion Land. Is a very minimalist
fantastic game.
But there is so much flavor in this game. Into the Odd is just a masterclass on how do you write a minimal game with so much flavor, so much atmosphere. It's awesome. And to finish, I would say I try also what I always say to people who want to design games, write games. You have to seek inspiration outside of role-playing games. So, for example, for when I wrote the Black Sword Act, I didn't reread Stormbringer. I didn't get to read other games that were about dark fantasy. I went back to the books, to the novels. I read the novels, and then after I reread, all those novels, so how do I put this into my game? But I didn't try to look in other games. So, this one does like that, this one does like that, because it just didn't work. A good example is, I would say, Black Sword Act, the spells. Sorcery.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's not because I did not want, to have basic Dungeons and Dragons spells. There's nothing wrong with that.
Thanks for
But
that, sir. Thanks for that.
but
Thanks for
you
that.
know when you cannot adapt those kind of novels if the characters are throwing fireballs. It's not gonna work.
No.
So after reading the books, okay, so what kind of spells fit the genre? And then I wrote them. But yes, I'd say that the main point of design for me is look beyond role-playing games. Always go back to the source of what you're trying to adapt, I would say. And I'm sorry, I talk too long.
No,
Talk too
no,
much.
no, no. I'm just absolutely amazed of what we are speaking about. And let me tell some things that come into my mind while you are speaking, because I played this game, and when I found, I said, okay, this is my game, because I just read very quickly, but I understand from the front side of this game that probably I appreciated a lot, and it was because it's minimal but full of atmosphere. That's today for the TTRPG world that is so complex and became so more collisionism than playing. It's something that is very important. Maybe someone could find it so empty of what we are common to find in the game, okay? Because now game are so leaded that we are selling in the market more campaign already made, that system that helps you to use your fantasy to create them. And this book, from this manual, Black Sword Duck, in my opinion, it's something that I love. I play and master games since 1992, and now I want game that make my fantasy free, not bounded, not boundaries, not limits, but just you can expand anything you want. And what you did in your game, it's something that is very, very, very precise. And I hope that this makes cool to other authors, because you did something good to create, perfect to create. As you said, the spells uh, catch really what is the principle in the word of Stormbringer, of the Elric of Melniboné, and the Moorcock idea that magic is something that is perverse relationship with the gods, with the demons, with the supernatural creatures. And what is the main purpose of the book of Moorcock that I deeply love so much, more than Lord of the Rings, more than everything, because there is the evilness. There is the strange relation between what is a supernatural and what is a human. And Moorcock create really something that became the principle of the roleplay game, the warlock. No, but the warlock of what Moorcock is created is something that is completely disappear from the world of the TTRPGs. And what you did is not just taking something from Stormbringer, from the old D100 system. It's something completely new, because it's evolved game from the Black Ark, but is very far even from the Black Ark that I played so much. And there is something that has the same flavor, but what you create, for example, with the usage dice, with the Doom dice, it's something that brings you to the destiny of what Elric feels. So the end, because this partnership with the demons, with the creatures you feel in your game, since to the spells, to the creation of a character that is simple but complex, simple but interesting, because I had not so much time to create my character, but I did with very, very interested. And believe me, I just created a lot of characters because I play OSR since many, many years, even before the coming of Morkborg. And believe me that it's a pleasure to make a character in your game. But I would like to tell you one thing more, because me and you, we have a game that probably we have in our heart, because I saw one of your cover and I see that it's so similar from the game of my heart, that is Traveler. So you just make the creation of a character simple, but it's very similar to what happened when you make the things that every player have to do one times in a life. Create character in Traveler. Believe, tell me if it's not, but because I found it.
Ah, yes, in Extinction, you mean?
Yeah, extinction. Yes.
Yeah, but well, first of all, I'm very. It always makes me happy when you say that just reading the game and playing the game, it makes you want to write, to create things,
Yeah, absolutely.
because that it's something that I aim for. To be honest, you know, I'd say, you know, there are two kind of pieces of art. You know what? Movies, novels, whatever.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
read
yeah.
something or you watch something, and there are two reactions. One reaction is, "Oh my God, it's so good, and I will never be able to do something as good because I suck." And there are other pieces of art you watch, you read, whatever, and you say to yourself, "Oh, that's cool. I want to do the same.
Yeah.
I want to do the same thing." And I try to write games that, you know, people want to, that make them creative,
Yeah.
you know, which is always a bit, you know, and it's true that for role-playing games, it's always a bit difficult, because if you say to people, you know, you just have to be creative, then I won't sell games anymore because people will be writing their games. And at the other side, there are people who just, you know, they go in the consumer mindset, you know, they sell you books and books and books and books. And we are wired in a way that, okay, I want more, I want more, I want all the books. You know, I think we all know people who have way too many books that they don't read. They end up don't reading them, and they don't play them, and they don't run the games.
Completely agree.
And that's a bit of a shame. I understand why, you know, because I collected for a while. I collected a lot of role playing books, you know, but it's a bit of a shame, you know.
Yeah.
Games are meant to be played, and most of all, you know, I don't want to, you know, to sell you things you don't need. I want to, you know, to spark your imagination, you know, kind of kickstart the things.
Yeah.
But after that, you know, the players, the GMs, they're the one who do the magic. They
Yeah.
do the role-playing game. I'm just writing a book. It's just a book. You know, the book is not the game. So yeah,
May I
small thing.
underline this sentence? May I underline this sentence?
Mm.
The book are not the game. Come on, guys, listen this sentence, because this is a pure knowledge. The book is not the game. Point.
No,
Next phrase.
and but I get it. You know, when I was, you know, I don't know, you know, 14 or 15 years old, if you gave me a book like, you know, I don't know, Pathfinder 2,
Yeah.
I would have been amazed, you know. I would have thought it was the best game ever, because I would feel, you know, oh, it seems to be a bit complicated.
Yeah.
So if I manage to grab it, you know, to play it,
Yeah.
it's kind of, you know, I got it's kind of like an achievement, a success, you know. Now I know to play Pathfinder, you know, I'm good.
Yeah.
And the book is big and it's full of stuff. And when I was 14, 15, I would have been amazed. Now I'm like you know, I think my first role-playing game session, it was 1982.
Like me.
So now I need
No, 82.
small.
No, sorry. 1982. No, 1982 I was born. So I think I am 10 years later than you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, yes, but you know, we both started at 10, 11 years old, so you know, that's the same. And but yeah, since then things have changed, of course. But there is something to say for the fact that the more books, role-playing books, I'd say,
Yeah.
uh, the more you have, the more it constrains your imagination. I think it's not an easy balance to find, but you, at one moment I think people have so many books that they don't even play anymore, and sometimes people, because they can't play, they buy more and more books.
Hmm.
But yes, and regarding magic, to go back to game design,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
the way I design the spells, because when you read most role playing games about, let's say, dark fantasy,
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff, there is always a mechanic to punish the player who uses sorcery. They call it corruption points, whatever. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
kind of,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's always the same logic. If the game is telling you, the player, what you should do. It's telling you, if you use magic, you're a bad person, and if you're a bad person, you get to be spanked. So you have corruption points or whatever. I found that to be a bit crude, not very interesting, and I prefer to give player the choice, because
Mm.
in Black Surak the spell's magic is very powerful,
Yeah.
quite powerful, and most of the time it ends up badly, not for the sorcerer, for the people around him. It's powerful, and it damages people around you. So as a player, will you use it? So my goal was to have a system that corrupts not the character but the player. And it
The,
was very fun to see at the table, people, who, I'm gonna play a magician, is gonna be fine, and 5 sessions later, they're playing Tulsa Doom, Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
have all the power,
yeah.
even nice players. So it was very fun. And to come back then, sorry, because I digressed.
No, no, no,
Extension,
no. Did it? Please speak
yeah,
freely.
extension traveler. You were talking about character generation, and yes, I love the character generation in Traveler, and
Yeah,
I also liked a lot the fact that it's the same. It's the original Traveler is.
yeah.
It's not the game is not very well explained, but
No,
it's a pretty simple game,
yeah.
basic, and but it's one of those things. Is because it's a science fiction game, and because most of the time, science fiction role playing games, I don't know why designers seem to think if it is science fiction, it has to be complicated.
This is okay. This I may I underline even this sentence. Why science fiction need to be so complicated? Because I think. Okay, let me tell you one thing. Actually, I think that we could say that the most important space game, actually very played, I could say, is Coriolis. No, Coriolis from Free League, and I think that is the game most played. Alien is another story, because at the end, as a brand, and it's similar, it's the same system, the Year Zero engine. But I think Coriolis, even for me that I love it, it's something that is a point of referring. What happened when I see Coriolis from my previous experience? I said, okay, guys, this is a very simple version of GURPS. Okay, because when you play with the 6 dice, no, with the d6, at the time of GURPS, you did the lines, no? If I do 1 or 2, you have something. If I do 2 and 3, and then I have to launch something previous and later, no, blah blah blah. And we have a system that it was good for the 90s, but terrible, not possible in these years. Okay, what Year Zero engine did? Very simple. 6 is a success. Otherwise, bye bye. This is very innovative in my experience of the the games that speaks about starship, space, and so on. And I think that is a very great success. And more right now that, thanks God, the Free League decided to unlink the game of something that it's forced to purchase. Okay, Free League, if you want to send me someone out of the door to kill me, I'm here. But here with the criticize is always present in this channel. So they did that. I love them, but I cannot appreciate anything they did. But this is the question. I think that when I spoke, coming back to Traveler, when I spoke to the great Mark Miller that we have as guest, he described this game just as a prosecution of his fantasy. And I think that at the time, in the 70s, when the games comes out, these games are literally a mind, the brain of the author that goes out on a book. There's no so much history to say, playtest, something like that. No. Traveler was born by an original idea. Was not complete, maybe getting better, maybe anything you want. But at the end, it was an original idea. And then it starts to become something more. It passes on GURPS, it passes on D&D system, SDK. But at the end, it was this one, okay? Let me tell you one thing about the Black Sword Arc. I have the perception on the magic that it's thrilling. Because sometimes magic is the last resource of someone that is dying, okay? In this case, I have the perception as a master to do something very innovative. Use the magic, destroy everything, but one day or the other one, maybe now, maybe not now, this will kill you and probably will destroy your world. With this kind of menace, you gave us to us as master a powerful instrument to make the what I call him the channel between the character and the person that is playing. No, you can just stretch, you can just short, you can just flat, you can just cut off. No, you just can reduce it just to let someone that happened to the character and not feel by the person that is playing. But in this way, magic is hit both in different ways, because the character is hit by the problem of using magic as a menace of his feeling of himself, of the relationship with gods and demons. The player says, okay, if I do this, have I to prepare another character? Because probably will die. Or worst, it will die, but there's no more world or more adventure because TPK or maybe the world will explode. Like I was telling about the hand of the one shot that you have included in the book. No, anything could happen, and anything could finish in this way. So this is a good gift that you give to this generation. Believe me, because this generation is too much strict connected to something that is already written. No,
I won't go about I don't talk really about generations because really I've met so many players from all ages. I know old people who play like young people, and I don't think it's a generational thing, but
okay. I rearrange my definition. My definition, I tell you this: the generation after COVID and Discord. May I call in this way? Okay, this is a better definition. Okay, the generation of a COVID and Discord. We comes out from this with something that need to be packed, used, concluded, and next one. No, come on, guys. Fantasy require a little bit of time. It's not something always immediate, because I love immediate sometimes, but sometimes I don't love it, because when we speak about a lore so much big like the Stonebringer one, that maybe is not so much known right now for many reasons that I don't know, but it needs that you read the book or listen audiobook or do something and you want. Maybe read a summary, but just study something and improve yourself with this game that gives you this chance, because there are so many games about big lores that limit yourself and gives no freedom to do the things. This one make it, in my opinion and my experience. This is what I feel and I would like to share with you.
It's really, when as I said, when I wrote the game, is to find that place where you have to give enough material to the player, to the GM, so they can, when they read the book or create the character, there's already kind of, a setting that
Yeah.
when it takes place in their heads. But at what level, it doesn't have to be too much. And for every group, it's going to be different, because I know that there are a lot of people who will read the Black Sword Act and say there is not enough in there for me. I need more, and I can understand that. We're not all the same, but as we already discussed, it's true that the more things a game throws at you, the more it limits your imagination. And it's always a delicate balance to find the spot. And what I did with the Black Sword Act, as I said, I'm very happy you liked it. Other people liked it very well. But I know many people will say, no, there's not enough in there for me. I want more because I don't have the time. I don't want to spend all that time, and I need more stuff, because I don't want to spend that much time imagining things. I want the things already done for me. So what can you do? It's I'm not gonna throw the first stone, cast the first stone, as they say, but yes, people have to know that games like the Black Sword Act are not meant for everyone.
I bring something that maybe change a little bit your mind, because going to many cons here in Italy, sometimes I found that there is a storm of people, bunches of players that going to put their reservation for the tables of D&D or Pathfinder or Vampires or Warhammer, I don't know. But there is a very big growing group of people that would like to play game without so much strict boundaries, even in big lores. And this, we will go, because I will. This is the fortune of Morkborg. No, we spoke with the Pelle Nilsson and Johan Nor, and they said, "I don't know what they are doing with my game. I completely ignore. I know only that Free Legion is printing and printing and printing copy of the book, and they are selling and selling and selling, because people is more curious, because the more the young generation and the people that approach the role-playing game right now, even because it becomes a mass happening, no, after Discord and COVID, people is curious, people is thirsty, is hungry of something that they can write. You probably remember better than me. You remember in the 90s where there was the huge forum where the people write text file so huge about any possible adventure. The story is remain the same. The people right now would like to have a game so open, with good rules, with clear things, able to build their world. Because I a little bit disagree with you when you said, if we gave the chance to the people, everybody write their game. Yes, it was happen like now. The bubble over everybody write game and put it on Kickstarter is finished. Is finished. game is came back to be something for the designer, because designer is one thing, me as a master player we are another thing, and then there are the players that is another story. At the end, if you are not a good tire mechanics, it's not a good engine mechanic. Okay, this is my point. So what is coming right now is the failure of a lot of Kickstarter, but success of some of them that became so viral. And I think that the success of Black Ark and the success of Black Sword Ark, it's something that is in this wave. Because at the end, OSR right now, OSR, OSI, I don't know, you call anything you want. But at the end, is something that is so diluted, is something so stretched that is not more just a table, append this, append that, append that. No. It's something that restarted the world from the scratch, exactly what it's coming from the original, because at the end, come on guys, OSR is something rearranged about the rules of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and at the end this is the story. But what you are doing right now with this game, not only the OSR in fantasy but even in other genre, it's something that gives a new spring, a new life to something that is little bit forgotten. This is my point. Maybe you have another.
And well, the point is, I don't have, I don't, me, myself, I don't even define myself as an OSR designer, because
Yeah,
quite frankly, what brought me to the OSR scene was I didn't care much about most of the rules, because I never was a big Dungeons and Dragons player. It wasn't my jam. But I love the creativity, all the words that were created, and I don't even know, if even now OSR really means something, because between games like Into the Odd, like Dolmenwood, like
yeah.
Shadowdark, like Black Sword Ark, what do they really have in common? There are things in common, they are so vastly different at the same time. So it's kind of new. Well, it's indie games, basically. It's still just indie games in the end for
But
me.
I know very. If I can tell you one thing that they have in common, innovation, and to be innovative in this world right now, it's absolutely not simple. It's absolutely not simple. So, my perception is, as a player and as a master, the innovation, because when I read the manual and I started from the first page and I run, because I love it, to town pages, town pages, town pages. I read it, every pages of that. I call him an innovation because I like it, not just for the table, just for what is expressed. You are right. You are a game designer, not OSR designer, because OSR is just a nickname to indicate someone that is common right now in this historical period. Okay, but
Yeah,
it's just
yeah, you
an
know what?
instrument. An instrument.
Yeah, because funny thing, I wrote a game, that was called, Rats in the Walls. It's a small
Yeah, yeah,
horror game. It's not OSR in the list. It's just 2d6. It's very much inspired by Traveler, as we
yeah,
talk. And what is funny is the game took off in Spain. In Spain, it's a big game now.
yeah, yeah.
And I was kind of a bit amazed by it, because they put a lot of effort in it, and they did a magnificent job. At one time, I was invited to a uh, to a convention in Spain, big convention. There are people like Joe Abercrombie there. At first when they invited me, I wanted to make sure, it wasn't a joke. I'm Kobayashi. I'm no one. Are you sure you want? I'm not George Martin. And they said, no, 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 no. It's you. It's you. We want. But and people just loved, Rats in the Walls, because they said to me, we want to play horror games, and with the rules are simple and there are enough inspiration. So when once we read your book, we wanted to run games and to write stuff for our games. And as you said, you know, like the Black Sodak, if you can, as a designer, because you know the rules, systems, it's just a little part of the job, you know. As I
Yeah.
said, we were discussing with Gabriel
Yeah, with
Quiroga,
Kevin.
and you know, we were discussing on Facebook, and we came to the conclusion, you know, when you are a RPG game designer, you have to write at the same time a novel, a history book, and the user manual for a DVD player. You have to
Yeah.
write these three things at the same time. So it's quite a, a surprising exercise to do, you
Yeah.
know. But yes, game mechanics are important, but not that important because at the time, you know, there was a lot of, you know, the period of the Forge story games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played some of them. I like some of them. It was a very informative time for me.
Yeah.
Even quite frankly, you know, it's most of it is kind of bullshit, to be honest, from a game design standpoint. Really, the- but I like the idea that when you have an idea about game design, instead of, you know, just doing a blog post, hey, I have an idea of game design, you say, okay, no, I will write a game. That was nice because there was a lot of creativity, but at the same time, we lost something because all the attention was about game mechanics. And there were no settings, no interesting settings being created, you know?
Finally, someone tell these things. Thanks God.
You you know what kind of, you know, creative IPs came from this scene? Practically nothing, you know. You know,
Yeah.
maybe a game like Shadowrun has a shitty system, but
Yeah.
everybody knows what Shadowrun is.
Yeah.
You know, there's Warhammer
Absolutely.
40K. That's the same. There are other things that come into play. Of course, there's marketing, who's
Yeah.
behind that
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff, of course. But if you cannot you cannot create a game just based on, I have found a cool mechanic. No, that's not enough. I'm sorry, but that's not enough.
No, I fully agree with you. Game is not just a question of rules, and I think even the opposite is not just a question of nothing and just a story. No, it's something in the between, and I think that a game designer that is a very maybe so strict definition, I think, but now you know, if we speak in English we need to be a little bit strict in definition. I think is an author. Author is something a little bit different, like you. It's something that mesh, mix, doing this incredible tasty cake that at the end it's something that is a mix of rules, lore, mixing together in the right way. That's what I found not only in Black Sword Dark, because we are speaking about Black Sword Dark and people maybe would like to know something else even for the other game, but I'm just insisting on it because this is one of the perfect matching that I found since a lot of time. Moreover, the perception here of the game that you just pointed at the beginning of a chat was Stormbringer. Stormbringer is something that here in Italy we bring in our heart with a lot of pain because we love the lore, we love how the manual was did because was great manual. The playing system is something that condemning you to the sadness. I tell you very honestly, it's a pure sadness because it gets you angry in every roll of dice. Because D100 was not a set, was not a game rules for a game of this lore. They were dislinked. They were not matching. And it's the perfect proof of what you are telling the opposite. No? So the matching of the rules with the lore.
And but what's also interesting, it's the way, because in France, Stormbringer was also quite popular.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, people were like, oh, well, the rules were okay, not very good, but we had so much fun.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I will take, because you made a very interesting analogy. You said, it was like creating a game, like baking a cake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's very true, because it's a bit like cooking.
Yeah.
And if you write basically a role-playing book is like a recipe book,
Yeah.
that tells you how to make the cake. So if you're and some designers will tell you this is a recipe book, and if you want the cake to be good, you have to follow the recipe exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And it's bullshit, because we all have different tastes. They will say, yes, that recipe is good, but I put more sugar, or I put more flour, or I add apples, whatever. You make it to your taste, and
Yeah.
that's very important, because once again, I'm just writing a book. You, the GM, the players, you are the one doing the cake. All I can do is try to give you what I think are the good ingredients, but the rest is up to you. And yes, I didn't like this trend. There are many at one moment indie games that are saying, no, if you want to play, there is a right way to play a game. And I say, bullshit.
Fully agree.
No, it's bullshit. There's no, if you write a game, so there is only one good way to play it. I'm sorry, but it's not a good game, and it's not a good design.
Fully agree. Fully agree. And I was, this is a matter in my association of a terrible discussion between the people that cannot live without strict rules and people like me that love rules to role play, oriented to the role play, because I give fully freedom to my people, to the table, to play whatever you want. Because when you just use your imagination, rule as just an instrument, not a limitation. Absolutely. That's why I'm just personally refusing big lores, just because I found myself so much limited, because when they do not exit from their comfort zone, just saving themselves into the rules as I don't know, as a gallows pole of everything, I think there is always an error, and this is a things that, let me tell you one thing. This is an example that we did with a lot of people that stays over here, even with Gabriel when he came here. Our generation comes from another era, the era that arrives to the TTRPGs from a reading book. No, you just reading book that it was something solitary. No, it's something that you stay over there with the book, and your experience is something in your mind. Just maybe you speak with your friend about what it is a trauma, what is the meaning purpose of the book, but at the end it's a relation between you and a book. Okay. Then it is arrived at the first playing book, no? We call Libri game in Italy, no? And it was just a sort of interactive game, but at the end it was really solitary, no? There is a loneliness inside of it. Then we arrived to use books to join all together with a pencil and paper, no? At the end, this is a very great things that make us a little bit allergic to huge system, complicated of rules. And for the main of people, we appreciate a lot something that give us freedom, because there's no movie, there's no Lord of the Rings, there's no series, there's no Netflix, there's nothing like that. And we use our imagination just to dream wars that doesn't exist. No, the time of the campaigns that last 6 years, 7 years. No,
But that's what interesting, it's because, yeah, as you say, role-playing games, it's about sharing your imagination.
Yeah,
But that also be that I know it's also, if I talk from a, our author game design standpoint, it also makes difficult to make really original settings,
yeah,
because if only the GM who read the book knows the setting,
yeah.
to share that with the players, if they have no reference, it's going to be very, very complicated. There was a game, an American game, I don't remember the name, but basically you were playing cockroaches
Yeah,
who were inside a red house and who were exploring all the rooms in that house.
yeah.
It's called Numenon. Numenon, it was called, and
Ah, okay.
it was played with dominoes. So you read the book. It's really interesting. It pushes your imagination
Yeah.
in new places. But to play that at the table, quite complicated, because you contemplate, hey, who want to play a cockroach? No one, no one, no one. So yes, that's one of the great things about role-playing games. That shared imagination space, but it's also a limitation. That's why in science fiction it's very easy to play. I don't know, Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah,
Basically, now you tell to everyone, okay, so you see a TIE fighter, you see a Wookiee, you see Boba Fett. People have pictures in their mind immediately.
yeah.
If you play a game like Traveler and your
Mm.
players don't know about the universe, you have to prepare, your session and bring some images, some text, so you know what you're talking about, or it's going to
Yeah,
be very
yeah.
difficult. But
It's a great job for each master. It's a great job. It's a great fantasy job because you just have to learn anything. And just for telling that is very true. Mark Miller told me I receive letters from guys that give as a gift their campaign from father to son, and even from grandma, from grandfather to the father to the son, and people that decided to join studying of astrophysics and arrive to work at NASA just because they start from traveler. So
excellent.
this is something that doesn't exist more. But just to make the link, I told you what was our experience because I feel common with you with what I told you about the books. But what is the jump? The jump is in the other story that we have right now. Because now, when I spoke about RPG, people thinks about Red Dead Redemption 2 or GTA. No? So what is the problem? The problem that now the instruments are so evolved in some way that you feel yourself as a character of RPG as a person of a video game. There's nothing bad in video game at the end, but just for let me make this comparison. Video game, you have a main story and side stories. Okay, you are very you have a big boundaries that brings you, even if they are larger, but they bring you in this mindset. So what I found on the table is the generation of us, the generation of the books, people that have many ideas of everything, so just like big clouds in their mind, but and the other one that are perfect because they learn every possible rules in 5 seconds, 5 seconds, but they have not this way to exit from their mind, even tell something that is a bullshit, but this is the risk of playing game. So this matching, this encounter, this challenge, this fight, this I don't know what we can call, it's something that make the real characteristic, the real question, problem, solution, I don't know, but the real things that characterize the game right now, because I found it on the table. And I found the people from this half and this half. And matching all together, it's very hard. And this game, like Black Squad, in this case, gave to the master, for me, an example, gave a big sword just to let them together have a common experience in a role-playing game. And believe me, it's so hard right now because sometimes the games are good, the player becomes evil. I tell you one example: Dark Heresy. Dark Heresy is a great game, but the community of Warhammer let him become a monster, unplayable. Because I will want to do this. No. I want to do no. It's not on the lore. No, no, no. It's the game of no. But not for the game. For the people that is playing. This is the problem.
Yes, that's a problem you have with all games that have big lores. You're always gonna have a. But I would say it's usually more a problem with the player than with the game.
Yeah. Community are toxic. This is for sure. But they are toxic maybe because there is a one period that too many games, someone without no sense, too many big lores just for make too much money. And this is what Mark Miller said. We are not just a seller of manuals. We have a culture experience. We give a culture and experience. We have the responsibility of what we are giving to the people. And this man have 70 and more years old. So it's something, it's a so fresh mindset for a man that is quite old. And I appreciate it a lot. And what we said with you, with Gabriel, with Pelle, with every person that passes over here is discussion these things because the people maybe sometimes comes in Twitch, comes everywhere just to promote their games. But the best way to promote the games, it's let them understand what is the principle of the game it comes. What is the principle? If you do not analyze the principle, you do nothing. The games just became one book into your house.
Yeah, it's gonna collect dust, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, I just spoke too much. I just go very straight. Then I leave you. I let you go because I just steal too much time to you.
That's okay. I'm always happy to talk about role-playing games.
Yeah, very good. We spoke about too much about the TTRPG world. I just to be hit by someone from Freeligan, and then we go over your relation with OSR 36 degrees, because this is huge monster. It's all over the world. What is your thinking about? Because we spoke about, but I mean, very interesting of your opinion.
Quite frankly, I'm always, I'm interested in specific games. When it comes, OSR,
Yeah.
indie games, all those big things. I don't care much about it. I really like to look everywhere, every type of games, and so the OSR. I'm very bad at predicting the future, so I won't. All I can wish for, I would say, is that because what we've seen, it was very interesting. Recently when Wizard of the Coast and Hasbro did all the shitty things they did last year.
I love you. I love you. I want to be your son.
The sales of all of their games, they just rocketed.
Yeah.
Pathfinder 2, they sold all their books. Call of Cthulhu, they sold more books.
Yeah.
So it at least it put an end, to that, that shitty saying that is what is good for Dungeons and Dragons is good for role-playing games. No, fuck no.
Yeah, fully agree.
Never.
Fully agree.
It's not true, because when they do shit with Dungeons and Dragons, things go way better for other role-playing games. So there was a recent article in the, I think it's yes, in the British newspaper, The Guardian, about
Yeah.
basically Hasbro and UOTC, and basically how they want to basically turn Dungeons and Dragons into the new Marvel, you know, Avengers movies and that stuff.
This gave me a very big problem because what happened? Dungeons and Dragon and Wizard let their game became a mass media thing. They are not more question that this is not more question of game design or playing TTRPG. It's a question of popularity and money. Popularity and money. No? If you think about the Dungeons and Dragons right now, you think about the Baldur's Gate 3, you think about Matthew Mercer, you think that this is good things in part because give us a new energy to the world. But as all the things I think every excess connected strictly to the damned money, it's a danger, it's a peril of this world because this world is not a question of only money, it's a question of culture, it's a question of creator, it's a question of different things. This is my opinion.
It's also it's mostly role-playing games exist because you have GMs and you have players, and it's something that no one can control. That's pretty much it. And concerning Dungeons and Dragons, you know, I've run 2 campaigns with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's not my kind of game, but it's an okay game.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's
I
a
have no
game.
problem. I have no problem with it. And to be fair with them, when they try to be a bit innovative, like they did with 4th edition,
Yeah,
no, you may like it, you may not like it, but at least they tried to do something different.
yeah.
And the community fell on them like a ton of bricks, you know. So they decided, okay, now we're gonna play safe. And but of course, you know, when I think their best-selling adventure is Curse of Strahd, I think
Yeah, yeah.
it's their best-selling campaign. And I'm sorry, but when your best-selling book is a remake of a 30-year-old adventure from a creative standpoint, you're bankrupt.
Yeah.
You have nothing to bring to the table anymore.
Fully,
It's
completely agree. Fully,
I'm sorry,
completely agree.
you know, if you know, our listeners or viewers, if you like Curse of Strahd, you like Dungeons and Dragons, you enjoy it, please enjoy it. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But from a creative standpoint, these people are bankrupt. And you know, there was you know, the comic book writer Alan Moore.
Yeah, I
You
know.
know, he said, you know, when he basically was telling that the comics business industry
Yeah.
was like the mafia. It was awful. And he said, you know, how can you be a comic book writer, you know, telling histories of champions of fighting evil when you're stomped on by your corporate masters, you know? How can you do that? You know, your mind cannot do it. And for me, you know, the creative, I think there are good creative people, you know, at Wizard of the Coast who work
Yeah, yeah, for
on
sure, for
Dungeons
sure.
and Dragons. Really, they're good people, I think. But how can you, you know, write, you know, a game which is about heroic deeds, people doing heroic things, when you work for a company like Hasbro? You know, it must be hard. You know, so I sympathize with them. You know, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, quite frankly. But so yes, good thing I think it's with the internet. You know, now we have so many channels. I think many indie game designers, when you're independent, you can find a community,
Yeah.
you know, to do your stuff, and that's what's important. I know, you know, I don't wish to sell 2 million copies of the Black Sword Act. I don't care, you know.
Mm.
Of course I care, because you know life would
We
be
are
easier for me,
improving.
of
We are
course, you know.
improving. We are improving. Yeah, 1 million it's okay. 2 million we are
But
improving.
yeah, you know, but the point is, I'm not a big a big company who want to have all the money of
Yeah,
the
fully
RPG
agree.
market.
Fully agree. Fully
You
agree.
know, if 1,000 people, you know, Black Flag, the Kickstarter, 3,000 people bought the game on the Kickstarter. It was amazing, you know. I was so happy because, you know, I thought, you know, two people are gonna buy it, you know, my brother and my mother, and that's it, you know.
Like
So
like the B movie or C movie or the 90s, no? Who-
yeah, and really, you know, and it's true. I've been. I've, it's you made an interesting point because yes, I kind of feel like we are just, you know, like the B movie industry, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We are the John Carpenters, I would say,
No,
of the role playing scene, you know. That's
you spoke about my favorite comics author, Alan Moore, and you took my legend of the movie, the Almighty Joe Carpenter, the Master of Darkness. So you touch in my heart right now, my friend.
cool, cool.
This is very what you say. It's very true, and I took sometimes I say that the corporate mindset into the RPG is so close that, for example, in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition exists something that is incredible, but absolutely keep underdog, and I'm so sad about that. I'm speaking about what Kate Barker did with Eberron, because Eberron is the real big underdog of Dungeons and Dragons, because in Eberron there is a lot of history that are incredible amazing, because if you read Eberron Confidential, that is there's an adventure made by Kate Barker that is really a big genius, really big underdog genius. It's something that easy playable with 5th edition, and you join something that is different from Gitty Yankee and Illithid, that is challenging together about one word, that I'm very tired about that. We cannot do something more. We spoke about Shaw Reynolds about that, and I said, oh yes, I did one great thing. I just set myself off to the wizard, so this is the problem was solved at the end. Anyway, you are very true, because at the end anything is useful. And let me tell you one thing, that it's the dualism, the two face of this meta. I take once again, so probably an army of Free Legion comes out of my door, but I don't care about it. Free Legion is the example of this dualism, because Free Legion has Free Legion Publishing and Free Legion Workshop,
Mm,
and both of them now is selling, because publishing, it's old style fashion way of intending the creation of game. Free Legion Workshop is something that is far west.
yeah.
It's like far west. It's a frontier, because you give someone a book, people it arrives there like a bunch of apes, no, and destroy everything, just making what they want, creating something that is far kilometers away from the game. For example, I take the example that Morkborg, it's became old, and Pelle knows it, because it's got so fast that now the original game appears 25 years old instead of the game
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, because everything is going out of their mind because it's free. Okay, maybe that is not so selling of the big manuals, but it's not true, because at the end the count is simple, because 60 euro for one manual and 50 euro for one manuals, you'd sell more of 15 if it became viral, no? So they have this,
Yeah,
there's this dualism that is a symptom of this era, and I think that it's something that agrees what you are telling right now.
but which is great is, you know, Mogborg, it pushed so many people, you know, to write their own take, you know, their own
Yeah,
game, their own things. It created such a burst of creativity, and
even
that's so
horrible
cool.
bullshit, even horrible bullshit, because it's a general, it's a thing that it's a, I don't know, it's a glass, it's that's it is inside, there is everything, you know, good and
Yeah,
bad, and very bad, and very bad, because sometimes I see some Kickstarter that I think that the creator need to be very sad of what they did. Very sad. Very sad. Anyway, let's go straight to the other question because we just I don't want to steal more of your time. And let us some actual project, a net project of Alexandre Kobayashi and his incredible mind and brain creations.
So last project, I just, last week I think I released a new game on Drive-Thru RPG. It's
Yeah,
called Running Saga. So
perfect.
it was very much inspired by Morkborg, but it regarding the mechanics, but it's basically a fantasy game where you play inspired by Japanese folklore. It's
Wow.
not my greatest game, to be honest, because I'm very bad at marketing, but it's a game that I wanted to write for a long time, just to have fun with my friends. It's not a masterpiece, but the illustrations were done by a friend of mine who works at Pixar.
Yeah.
So at least you can buy it for the illustration. The art is awesome,
I will
So
buy
as I
for
said,
sure. No, you.
as I said, I suck at marketing. So here we go.
Mhm.
And next projects. I will. I think next year probably, or at the end of the year, a game called Unlikely Gentlemen. So basically, it's a steampunk game, very
Ooh.
inspired by,
This
I'd
is
say,
cool.
Into the Odd.
This is cool.
There's already a quick start on Drive-Thru RPG, but it's gonna be a big book. I think it's gonna be a 200 pages book.
Uh-huh.
It's really steampunk, but really on the sci-fi. There's no fantasy, no
Yeah.
magic, no elves, no steampunk. Okay, and as we were talking about John Carpenter, I'm working on another game, and Gabriel Quiroga will make the cover for it, so that's cool.
My God.
And it's gonna be called Dark Leningrad, and it takes place in the 90s, and the Soviet Union still exists. And it's
Like
kind of
Ukraine. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Ukraine, yeah, exactly. And but of course, it's a there are psychic cats, there are sharks in the Sea of Finland. Brezhnev is a cyborg, so it's gonna be a little bit on the silly side, and because to make my mother is from the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
so I kind of grew up in this kind of things. So I wanted to write a game about this. It's going to be a bit absurd, but I think it's going to be a fun, cool game.
Absolutely.
So
I want 10 copies.
yeah, and I was talking about John Carpenter because if you want to imagine what the setting is like,
Yeah.
imagine that John Carpenter was born in the Soviet Union, and he made his movies there.
Yeah. Like 1997 Leningrad.
Yeah, Escape from Leningrad.
Escape from Leningrad. Wow.
Exactly.
No, I need it. But if you join the forces of evil, you and Gabriel, probably it will be a masterpiece. So I will pay 10 copies for sure. In the chat, the one my friend that is a very good illustrator, Mr. Maraichuk, said, John Carpenter in Soviet Union, give me 10 copies. So come on, guys, follow all the links that I put on chat to be informed when Alex Kobayashi joined the forces of evil of Gabriel Quiroga. That we say to Gabriel Quiroga, cheers, because I see that it's a little bit ill. And when he joined the forces to give us a Yena Pliskin version in Leningrad, probably I think that I have a game of my next years and years, because this is very cool idea, and I hope that you will do something great as your game, because this is very Escape from Leningrad. It is cool. You did something very good. This is I would like to see where this idea will go. because it's very funny. It's very funny.
I do too.
Anyway, Alex, what I can say, thank you, because you give to the world of people that is listening about the TTRPG. Yeah, one of author that is writing in the chat, that is Krychek. He wrote a very good game called Blades that now we present on we out on Modena Play. He says with Dimitri Pliskin. I have to read it. Sorry. Dimitri Pliskin was fun.
Dimitri Pliskin.
Dimitri Pliskin.
Da.
Anyway, come on, guys. Let's have a check to all the link of my friend Alex Kobayashi, because he's a great author. He made a lot of game, not only Black Sword Dark, Flow, and many other more. So have a check, because you will find games that are very funny and created by a person so free, that loves freedom in gaming and freedom in role playing, and I'm very appreciative about that. Moreover, for all the people that will not see right now the streaming, you will find the streaming on YouTube as soon as this streaming finish. Okay, and say thanks for the Black Sword arc, because it's amazing. So Italian people loves you. So Alex, so this is very great. Anyway, thank you very much, and as usual of this channel, we will do the final ride to other person, just to support the community of Twitch. We will go to one of my greatest friend, is a great gamer and great role play gamer. I bring him for his first adventure here on Twitch. It's called Okami. Anyway, Alex, thank you very much. In the time that I charge the ride, I'll just pass again your contact in chat, and because I would like that people will play your game, and if you have a chance to play with me, I will bring Black Sword Dogs till my eyes drop down. So
thank you for playing the game. That warms my heart every time when I know people play my games.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alex, thank you very much for coming here. We appreciate very much, and please come again when you have some news about this incredible project. Thank you very much, Alex.
Always happy.
Thank you very much for all. Have a nice night. Goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.